Hello everybody, this is Gregory with How I Lost Over 100 Pounds and I've kept it off for 30 plus years, where there should be no hesitance in your weight loss and maintenance. Today we're going to continue the series 20 kitchen items that help me with weight maintenance and talk about the DC, the dark chocolate. Now before we begin, if you need help with weight loss, especially from the psychological point of view, you need a little guru, contact me through the Clarity FM link found here in the episode notes. Also check out my website, Naturopathic Earth, which has hundreds of recipes and articles, my podcast, which has around 400 episodes, and my 2 books. And if you really appreciate content, there is a link for PayPal for a small donation. All right, so episode 1 was on tea. Episode 2 is on the dark chocolate. Now, I talk about Reflections of a Weight Loss Warrior. I think it was probably about episode 25 when I kind of found the kind of clean eating paleo mindset. And that's when I started to eat dark chocolate. So maybe about 7 or 8 years. It's not to say I've never ate dark chocolate before that, but certainly in my fat days, I was much more about milk chocolate, where cacao is the third ingredient behind milk and sugar. So it just tells you how unchocolate milk chocolate is. Now, this episode, I could talk 20 minutes on dark chocolate because it is one of the mainstays of my diet. But I will kind of defer to stuff that I've already created a long time ago. So if you go to the Awakened Man, the podcast, one of the episodes in the first 30, I talk about dark chocolate. I do a review of the most popular dark chocolate bars. I'll see if I can put a link in the episode notes. Over at Naturopathic Earth, I have a couple of articles doing the same thing because look, there's some people who can't afford $3 a chocolate bar, especially now with inflation, and you can go to specialty stores where, I mean, literally it's $8 a dark chocolate bar. So, I mean, it's crazy expensive. So I'm going to keep this kind of like dark chocolate 101 to make it easier. So look, what are some reasons we should be eating the DC? Really high in nutrients. It's high in fiber. It's a great plant source of fiber and fat. Remember, fat doesn't make you fat, especially if you're eating the healthy fats. Now, there's unhealthy saturated fats that you find like in hot dogs, or I'm sorry, like in honey buns and ding dongs and so forth, even hot dogs because they're processed meat. But you do want saturated fat, especially from animal products, but it doesn't have trans fat. So you do need good fats, and dark chocolate, along with avocado, along with eggs and other sources, have the healthy fats, the MUFAs and the PUFAs that you want. Fat doesn't make you fat, okay? So it's mostly excess of carbs that make you fat. Has tons of fiber, good source of protein, good source of fat, and it has a lot of what we call plant nutrients or phytonutrients. So chocolate comes from cacao, or the cacao beans, which are very similar in their profile to Arabica coffee beans. And so there's going to be a similar kind of profile, what you get of it. Clearly coffee, when you drink coffee, you're not going to get the fiber and the fat. But I'm just talking about in terms of the beans, they're very similar. But look, it reduces cholesterol, it's anti-diabetic, it improves your memory, it lowers your blood pressure, it can help prevent cancer, it's super high in antioxidants, it promotes weight loss because it keeps you kind of in a keto state. And I mean, it can go on and on. It's high in flavonoids, polyphenols, ECGCs, all these things, but it's just good for you. Now, the number, let's focus on the number and then we'll focus on the ingredients. This is 90%. So if you go and get M&M's or Dove dark chocolate, like M&M's, it's the purple bag, I understand that's about 60% cacao, true cacao. So when you eat one of those, they're still pretty sweet. And that's their version of dark chocolate, but that would be this version's 60%. So the higher the number, the lower the amount of sugar that they put in it. So eventually you do want to develop a taste for 90, 85, 80 I think would be best baseline, but go to 90. I know Lindt has a 95. And you look on the back for the amount of sugar, and the sugar difference between a 60% and a 90 or 95% is night and day. I mean, if you look at the back of this on a serving, this is 2 grams of total sugar. Where you look at a 60%, you're looking at 20 grams per serving. So you want to eventually develop the taste for the dirt, as it's going to taste like, but it's good stuff. So you want the higher number. Also, watch out for flavored dark chocolate. We talked about this in one of the, I think on the series, foods that secretly have a lot of sugar, like flavored dark chocolates is one of them. So along with flavored almond butters or nut butters, flavored kombucha, and all these other things like that. So if you get like a 80% orange flavor or even a 70% strawberry flavor, there's tons of sugar in it to make it taste like strawberry. So it's kind of like with the green tea I talked about earlier, just try and drink it black. This should just be plain, boring, the chocolate. Now let's look at the ingredients. So you got to be careful, and this is what I really talk about in the review that I've already mentioned that I did about 5 years ago, is you want to look at the ingredients. So like with all foods, the less ingredients mentioned in the back, the better. But in terms of dark chocolate, there's a couple of things you got to worry about. And one of them is soy. So like if you look at Ghirardelli is a very common dark chocolate brand you'll find nationally. They have soy lecithin in their dark chocolate. Soy lecithin is found in a lot of things. Pretty much every middle aisle food is going to have it. It's an emulsifier. And the problem with soy is that it's estrogenic, especially if you eat a lot, which is not good for men. And it's not good for women too, because it leads to reproductive cancer problems. But also it's genetically modified in America. And really there's no reason why soy should be in your dark chocolate. A good dark chocolate is going to have cacao or cocoa butter. And then it shouldn't have vanillin, which is imitation vanilla. It should have like vanilla beans or organic vanilla beans. And less ingredients, the better. Now, there is a difference between cocoa and cacao. And the letter difference is very, very short. But ideally, you want to get the high quality dark chocolate bars. And before you say you can't afford it, just understand, like you're probably eating out, you're spending money on Uber Eats and on Starbucks coffee and all these things. But I would tell you, I do eat Lindt over Ghirardelli because Lindt doesn't have soy lecithin and for other reasons as well. And these are pretty affordable in terms of the affordable bars. I mean, you can get these sometimes on sale at Amazon for about $2.50 a bar. If you're at your grocery store, depending, of course, where you live in America or in the world, this could go up to $3 or even more. I would be weary of the super cheap bars that you could buy at the dollar store, that even if they say they're 90%, look on the back because the ingredients lots of times are sullied. And as I mentioned, I'll put a link in my review of the popular brands because Trader Joe's has a couple of decent brands. And again, Ghirardelli, Lindt, Green and Black is a great national brand. There's tons of national brands out there that are decent to not so decent. So again, like with all things, look at the ingredients, but try to get the highest percentage number dark chocolate. And the good thing about dark chocolate too is that since it's full of fat and fiber, it does fill you up. It is hard, not to say impossible, because I could eat this whole bar, especially with almond butter, like a true peanut butter cup. But it's hard to overeat these things because you're getting a lot of fat, the healthy fat, and fat fills you up. And if you're looking for like a nice biohack, keto, fasting, double hack, fast, and then break your fast with something that has no sugar or minimal amounts of sugar. Like, so if you break your fast eating, let's say, a hard-boiled egg, I mean, you're essentially still in fasting state because your body is going to eat that highly fat keto food and essentially process it where it's like, well, there's no sugar, I'm just going to keep burning in this keto state. So it's a great way to break your fast. Instead of breaking your fast by eating, something sugary like cereal, break your fast with like a true high fat item like almond butter, especially naturally if it doesn't have sugar, or dark chocolate, or nuts, or any of these things. It's a super double biohack. But I really recommend that you do implement dark chocolate. It has helped me for quite a long time for the aforementioned reasons, and it's one of the things that I love. It's one of the simple pleasures in life, like my morning walks, my cup of green tea, and just eating dark chocolate. Because dark chocolate, the way I would eat it is kind of like the way you drink wine. With wine, we're supposed to smell the bouquet and kind of put it in your tongue, just let it stay in your mouth. With high quality dark chocolate, and look, this is not necessarily high quality. This is more like workman's decent high level quality chocolate. You can get chocolate bar $5, $6, $7. But if you're gonna get a piece, just leave it on your tongue and just let it melt, and you can just really savor the taste of good quality chocolate. Don't be like Augustus Gloop from Willy Wonka and just eat the whole bar. Now with dark chocolate, really savor the taste. But it's an awesome item that I highly recommend you put in your diet. Guys, post in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.